Many thanks for staying with us here on News Desk. To some politics now. And the New Patriotic Party has rejected reports that it is considering reinstating suspended National Chairman Paul Afoko and General Secretary Kwabena Ejapon. The two were suspended from the party for misconduct last year. A section of the media on Wednesday reported that the party was initiating moves to drop sanctions against the duo after the National Executive Council penalized them following a disciplinary hearing. But the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Nana Komia, in a statement released last night, said the party has not taken any such decisions. Kwacha Afreniama of our political desk is joining me now in studio with the extracts of that very statement. So, Afreni, thank you very much for joining us. So, what does this statement from the NPP say specifically?
Well, first, all this started as an April Fool's prank. Then subsequently, after 1st April, some and online portals picked it as hard news and were carrying it. In fact, what they reported then at the time was that was the MPP was not only considering reinstating Mr. Kwabena Ejapon and Paul Afoko as executives, but also Mr. Sami Krab, former vice chair of the party. But the New Patriotic Party says that all this is not true. Nana Komia signed a statement. It says that they rather brief. The attention of the New Patriotic Party has been drawn to stories on one or two social media portals that the party intends to reinstate Mr. Paul Afoko and Kwabena Ejapon. At this last steering committee and national executive committee meetings, this issue did not even come up at all for any discussion, much less a decision. Any report on this matter is a pure speculation. And so you see here clearly he points to the National Executive Committee meeting, as you mentioned. That was what the story, those stories on social media pointed to, that this decision had been taken at the National Executive Committee meeting after the steering committee of the party had also considered same. But the New Patriotic Party says there is no such intention of reinstating these two officers as elected executives of the party.
Okay, so now we are told that there's been a response from the camp of the suspended national chairman. I'm speaking of Mr. Paul Afoko. You have a copy of that as well? What does it say?
His spokesperson, Nana, signed this one. It's over 3-paragraph statement. It says that their attention has also been drawn to news making rounds on some online portals, saying, and they name one particularly in this statement, Kasapa FM Online, stating that they had picked up information from sources, credible sources within the MPP, to the effect that there were ongoing discussions within the party to reinstate Mr. Paul Afoko. In fact, what that story said was that this was to ensure that the party would maintain a united front, bring all the, the factions in the party together. That was the motive of this intended plan, as was reported by this online portal and other social media sites. And Mr. Afoko says that he's grateful to all those who have sought to find out the truth on this matter, because he'd received a number of calls concerning that matter, and wishes to say that he is not in any reconciliation talks with any of the persons or group of persons who, either within or outside the party, in respect of the so-called reinstatement. And the concluding part says that the national chairman is reassuring the general public, especially party members, that he is in court of law to challenge what he considers as an illegality perpetrated by some selected few members who erroneously think their wishes should be law in the MPP. And interestingly, still, all statements signed by Nana Yawse, spokesperson for Mr. Afoko, still come with the title of spokesperson for the national chairman of the MPP, clearly indicating that Mr. Afoko thinks that he still
sees himself as the
national chairman of the
party.
New Patriotic Party. Interesting
there. Right. After many thanks for your time on News Desk this morning. That was my colleague Kwache Afreniama bringing us extracts of that very statement by the national chairman, suspended national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Paul Afoko. That particular statement was signed by his spokesperson, Nana Yawse. Let's take a break here on News Desk because it's time for some business. When we come back, we'll bring you business updates as well as sports updates, and there's still a lot more stories you need to take a look at, particularly about that very story that touches on the ban on importation of day-old chicks in the country. We'll be bringing you a lot more on that. Stay with us.